What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another D-Phrase horror review. Today we're going to be going over Frankenhooker, 1990 Frankenhooker. This is on Peacock, this is on Tubi. If you got Peacock, I prefer that one over Tubi because even though Tubi's a fantastic website, they do have ads. That's how their app or streaming service is based off of. That way it's free, so you don't got to pay anything. But Peacock, there's no ads if you're paying for the subscription. So I definitely recommend, if you are going to check this out, to watch it on there. So anyways, for this one, the runtime is an hour and 25 minutes. Perfect. Love that time because they know their story. They know what this story is about. They know they don't got to make it extra. They know that they just got to do certain pinpoints to go from A to B and get from the start to the finish. This is an over-the-top comedy / horror type film. It's meant to not be taken so seriously. I mean, just the name alone, Frankenhooker, tells you right there where it is. It takes place in New Jersey, and there's this couple, Jeffrey and his girlfriend Elizabeth. Now Jeffrey is almost like a mad doctor, mad scientist. The very first scene you see of him, very first opening in the whole movie, is there at a barbecue, and he's playing with this brain. He's trying to get the brain to do some functions, mess around with it, and try just to get it to react. There's like an eye on it, so you can tell he's a little out there. He's not He's not the sanest person. So anyway, that's where the movie takes off. They're at a barbecue, or doing a barbecue with friends and family. And Elizabeth shows her family this present that Jeffrey got her, which was almost like an electronic lawnmower control thing. So she goes to use it, but she's standing in front of the lawnmower at a distance. So the thing pretty much speeds up, runs her over, kills her, shreds her to pieces. The only thing that's really still maintained is her head and a couple more body parts, but nothing like to the point that was redeemable. Now, this is kind of where the movie takes off. This tells you where we're going with it. So now Jeffrey is going through this mourning stage, and he has taken the head and has it in his lab. No one knows he has the head, but he is working on this way to bring her back to life. From the very first scene, how he's playing with the brain, he's trying to get the electromagnetic fields, all this stuff, to play his own Dr. Frankenstein. And he's a very weird guy. In order for him to be relaxed, he uses like a drill. He even says, some people use alcohol, other people use drugs. I use this. And he like drills his brain to help him relax, which was very, very disturbing. So he comes up with this idea that he's going to go and take these prostitutes because he can't redeem the parts of Elizabeth, but the brain is still good, so he can still redeem her. So he goes to a part of Jersey where the prostitutes are, and gets a bunch of girls set up, and he goes and sets up a time for the next day to meet up with all of them. So the person in charge of everything, Zorro, he would be the pimp in this situation, makes a deal with them, says, okay, do this time, yada, yada, yada. So the next day, he goes, meets up with the girls, and they're all in the room. He's doing like some weird measurements. He is just trying to get the angles, trying to see what would fit, what wouldn't fit, because he's pretty much leveled everything to an exact T of what he needs in order for it to work. So anyway, from there, he said he was going to kill them with this super crack, which is one of the things I'll talk about later for my pros and cons. So he uses this super crack. One of them gets their hands on it. It's this huge bag of crack. and they all start taking it. Now what happens is there's a chemical in it that makes them explode. So they all explode. He takes their parts, goes off, goes into his lab, and molds together this Frankenstein-looking creature of Elizabeth. Takes legs here, arms here, torsos here, just what he needed. So he went, put all the parts together, put her up, hit her with electricity, came back down, and she was resurrected. However, there was an issue in the process from A to B, where now she had all these multiple personalities of the people that he put together. He didn't fine-tune it the way he should have. So, Elizabeth comes back to life and starts saying some of these quotes from, like, the hookers. Like, do you want to play? Or do you have money? Or so he says no. She decks him. Levels him. And she's glitching at this point. Making weird faces. Just still rambling. So she hits him and leaves. So from there, she's on the streets and just kind of going crazy. You know, again, going to random guys because she's got these prostitute in her that it's like, okay, this is what she does. So she's going to these random people saying, hey, do you want a good time? Do you want this? Do you want that? Now, the only problem is because this is not a normal person, again, this is something that Jeffrey didn't plan on, and that was any kind of like physical interaction, like sexual interaction, the person explodes. So she hooks up with one person, has sex with them, as she's actually no, she doesn't even have sex with them. They're like laying on the bed still. As she's on top of him, he fries. He like electrocutes and fries. So that's head falls off. So then the next one is a girl, a guy on the street comes up to her and starts kissing her. His head blows up, and it's all like electrocution at this point. So now Elizabeth finds her way back to the hangout spot of where all the prostitutes hang out, because that's in one of her, her body. She knows where to go with that. So Jeffrey ends up looking for her and finds her in that area. So he ends up grabbing her. They go through it. He ends up getting a hold of her, and he brings her back to the lab. He does his fine tuning on it, and she ends up being more normal, the Elizabeth that he knew. He just needed to really fine tweak it. So as they're kind of talking back and forth, and she's establishing what's going on because she didn't have any idea that she was dead, and he's explaining what he had to do. And Zorro, who's been looking for Jeffrey because of everything that he did to his girls, comes up from behind him with a machete, cuts off his head, kills Jeffrey. That was something I didn't expect in the movie. It was a nice little twist to it. So from there, Zorro is talking to Elizabeth at this point, saying, now you're going to have to be one of my girls. Don't worry, I got this crack. You're going to be the Rock. You're going to be fine, but you're going to have to work for me now, etc., etc., etc. So there were a couple different failed experiments Jeffrey did, I guess, with these hookers, and they were all in a container. So what happened is all of these experiments came out, and they're just like mutilated bodies mixed in. And they start attacking Zorro, and they kill him and just shift him into the bin that they're in. And overall, that was an interesting. I didn't expect that part because you don't see him messing around with the bodies. You just assume that he had extra body parts. So from there, the next scene, Jeffrey ends up waking up, and Elizabeth did what Jeffrey did to her. But because the formula that he has, he couldn't do male body parts. So she went and grabbed the remaining body parts that were normal and salvaged, and she resurrected Jeffrey with the female body parts. So now, besides his head, he is a female and just looks mutilated. And it's just it's a scene that's like, oh my god, when you first see it, it's like you just like don't even think about that. So that's where the movie ends. That was a pretty interesting way, because you don't know where it's going to go, but at the same time, it's not really to be taken so seriously. So that was a really, really good movie. If you want to check it out, I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars, possibly even 5 out of 5. I don't, for the pros and cons, like the con, I don't really have any issues with it, because it's not meant to be serious. It's a horror movie because of the way that it's formatted, but it's also got this nice, really good splash of comedy here and there. The pros, I really liked how they showed, like, when Elizabeth got resurrected, like, she did glitch out. I liked that. I thought that was a really good side effect to add into the movie, like how nothing really went perfect from start to finish of this resurrection process, you know. Yeah, she has multiple personalities, and her body's, like, glitching out. So I thought that was a really good pro. Another pro is how I told you he used the super crack to talk about the issue, like, to kill off the girls, because this was made in 1990, and in the late 80s to early 90s was the biggest issues with the crack epidemic. And I think that it was really a good idea to focus in on that, because it kind of told you about the problem that was going on at that time period, how people needed help at that time period. So I thought that was pretty cool. So anyways, that's my review. This was a pretty thorough review because I just recently watched it, and I really did enjoy it. So I definitely do recommend you checking it out. Like I said, it's on Tubi and it's on Peacock. It's on a couple other outlets that I don't have. I think it said it's on Vudu. It's on Amazon if you want to buy it on Amazon. But definitely Peacock and Tubi. Peacock would be number 1. So that's my review, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think of it. And until next time, peace.